Hello and welcome to another Motors.co.uk new car review. Now today we're going to be looking at the brand new Ssangyong Korando, but before we do, please remember to comment below this video to tell us what you think, like the video itself, and don't forget to subscribe to the Motors.co.uk channel, hitting that bell icon so that you're notified each and every time we upload a new video. This is the new Ssangyong Korando, and it's the latest SUV offering from the South Korean manufacturer to take on rivals such as the Kia Ateca and the all-conquering Nissan Qashqai. Its looks have been sharpened up and it's laden with tech, but can it do what key manufacturers have been doing for quite some time now? Let's find out. You can't fault the Korando when it comes to the way it looks. It's certainly one of the more striking SUVs currently available, and with plenty of chrome trim pieces it looks far more premium than many of its competitors. The chunky front end, boxy headlights and wide grille certainly give it quite a bit of presence too. Ssangyong has pushed really hard to improve the quality levels in its cars, and it's really noticeable inside the Korando here. Now the main part of the cabin is dominated by this 9-inch infotainment system, and it's a really slick version, and it's also got Apple CarPlay for smartphone connectivity. You also get this wonderful 10.25 customizable display in front of you, and it puts other versions to shame because the amount of info and the amount of options you have is really impressive, and you can change between so many different views that you just can't get in other cars. It's worth mentioning, however, that this is an ultimate spec car, so it gets all of the bells and whistles. So you've got heated and vented seats, you've got heated steering wheel, you've got electronic controls for the seats. There's pretty much everything in here. It's overall a very well executed cabin, and it's one that rivals should be really scared about. An interesting thing that Ssangyong has done in the Korando is fitted it with quite a variety of different noises. So for instance, when you turn the car off, turn the ignition off, it plays you a happy little tune, which might get a little bit irritating as you live with the car, but initially at least it's quite exciting. And then when you start it up again, that's to tell you that your seatbelt isn't on. Again, might get a little bit annoying to begin with, but it's another thing that does give the Korando a slightly quirky edge over its competitors. The Korando comes with a 551 litre boot as standard, though this does drop to 407 litres if you opt for a full-size spare wheel. Helpfully, there are 12-volt connectors in the back here too for charging devices, and you can extend the area to a full 1,248 litres by folding those rear seats flat. This particular Korando is powered by the firm's 1.5 litre petrol engine, sending all of its 163 brake horsepower to the wheels through an automatic gearbox. There's also the choice of two diesels, a 1.6 and a 2.2, and those may be better options for people who plan on using their Korando for more intensive jobs, such as towing. As we've already mentioned, this Korando is powered by a 1.5 litre petrol engine, and though it produces just over 160 brake horsepower, it doesn't feel all that quick, but then it is quite a large car and it is quite heavy. The issue really is here with the gearbox. It's slow to respond, and though when you're up and running it's okay, around town it makes things quite jerky and not all that relaxing. Likewise, Ssangyong has made the ride on the Korando quite firm, and though that does mean it diminishes the amount of body roll you get through the corners, when you're driving at lower speeds it makes the car quite fidgety and it doesn't settle down all that well. And that's something to think of if you do spend a lot of your time in urban environments where the roads are more broken up. However, the seating position is quite high and the bonnet slopes off in front of you, so you do get a good amount of visibility out the front. That said, over the shoulder is blocked by quite a large pillar, and that does mean that when you're going out of tighter junctions it can be a bit tricky to move the Korando. You do get the option of using the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel in this car, but again it's probably something that you're going to leave alone after the first initial miles that you spend in the car. The steering is also quite light, and because, as we mentioned, the body control is quite well managed, it does mean it doesn't quite tie in together. The steering is light, so when you're cornering, though the body doesn't shift too much, the steering itself doesn't give you an awful lot of feedback nor direction of where the car is going in particular, and that's a little bit underwhelming. When it comes to refinement, the Korando does quite well. The engine can be quite vocal under hard acceleration, but then it is a relatively small capacity unit for the size of car that it's in. However, when you're up to speed, it's nice and quiet. We have got a roof bar and bike rack fitted to this car, which does generate quite a lot of wind noise as you'd expect. But apart from that, there's not too much road noise nor tyre noise generated and intruding in the cabin, and that means that the Korando will likely be a good partner on long journeys. It's worth mentioning as well, as we've said before, that this car is an Ultimate Edition, so that means that it comes in at just over £28,000, which, considering the amount of equipment that you get, isn't bad at all. The only downside with this 1.5 litre petrol engine is economy, because during daily driving we've scarcely been seeing 32 miles per gallon, and that's not ideal if you're doing longer trips. It does mean that if you're travelling further distances, then the diesels may still be the ones to go for. The new Ssangyong Korando comes perilously close to being a very well-rounded package. In my eyes it looks good, it's well made inside, and there's loads of standard equipment too. But it's just undermined by a firm ride, and in this car's case, an automatic gearbox that just doesn't respond quickly enough. However, when it comes to value for money, then the Korando makes a very good case for itself. And that's why it should be on a list if you are looking at a new SUV. If you'd like to see other video reviews of the Korando's key rivals, then follow the links coming up next.